Good afternoon. Now I welcome Major General B.K. Mahapatra to chair today's evening and then give his opening remarks. And then I request Jagadanand to be the moderator there. Please, very on, sir.
So General B.K. Mahapatra, a stalwart of the think tank Odisha and also leads the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Center in Bhubaneswar. General B.K. Mahapatra, please. General Mahapatra.
Any problem in the audio?
General Mahapatra.
Has disconnected, sir.
Okay, I think, okay. So what I will do is, let me then begin and General Mahapatra will join because time is the essence. And so thank you, Swadesh Babu, and welcome everyone. I'm so delighted that we are able to do this event, very important event on the agriculture development in Odisha. And in the panel, we have a brilliant panel, and the keynote address is going to be provided by Dr. Saurabh Garg, our Principal Secretary Agriculture, followed by Professor Prabhat Kumar Raul, MD Apical. They will be properly introduced by the convener Swadesh Patnaik ji, and then a veteran agriculture professional, Suresh Chandra Patnaik also is available. He will give his perspective. And then I can see so far about 68 people have joined, and I'm sure the number goes up very fast. And there is a lot of enthusiasm. I can see now people from far off places from Malkangiri to Mayurbhanj have joined. And the other side, I can see people from Raurkela and to Kendrapada, this side also, people who have entered this room. That means it's going to be a very important event. Odisha, as you know, is predominantly an agrarian state with more than 60% of the total workforce directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture for their livelihood. Almost 60% of the area under cultivation in the state is rain-fed, but rainfall is unpredictable with erratic and skewed distribution of rainwater. Disasters has become a part of our life. So disaster resilient agriculture is a huge challenge. And then on top of it, the need for prevention of indigenous seeds, seed diversification, crop diversification, managing integrated nutrient, pest management, agri credit, managing the marketing for the farmers, basically for the small and marginal farmers, promoting agri entrepreneurs, managing the water. You know, basically agriculture is managing the moisture. So how do you manage the moisture actually? Water management so far has focused on running water management, but rain-fed water management recently has received very important focus from the government. We have a wonderful program which is known in the country, our millet work. So rain-fed work, millet work is going to be the pathfinder for the future of agriculture. I don't want to take longer, but let me extend a warm welcome to each one of you who have joined from farthest places and those who have joined part of think tank. And think tank Odisha is a think tank group basically of very senior people who have spent their life developing experts and expertise around various areas of and various facets of Odisha's development. And so with this, let me welcome Dr. Saurabh Garg, Professor Raul, Professor Suresh Chandra Patnaik, and also Major General B.K. Mahapatra, whenever he is able to join. I think we'll give him the floor at some point of time. But at the same time...
I'm available.
Okay. So, sir, over to you to extend a formal welcome. I was only trying to fill in the gap because we couldn't get you. Suddenly he would disappear. Yeah.
No, you have done a better work. You have done a better work. Okay, you have already done the welcoming, so I will not repeat because we have got eminent speakers and we will give time to them to speak. Welcome all of you formally, but before we start, we know the importance of the subject and it will get clarified more and more. 70 to 80% of our population are involved in agriculture. Whatever economic development you want to do will be of no consequence unless we are able to address our agriculture sector, agro sector. We have got classic example in 1966, what happened? We did not have food. It was the USA which was sending us food and it was being shipped to mouth. That was the state of affairs. But we were lucky that we had the Great Revolution. A young man came, USA man from Mexico called Bollo, and he brought the hybrid seed. By utilizing that, the Green Revolution was started, though it was confined more to Punjab, Haryana, and Western UP, but that drastically changed the situation. The food production, what it was in 1966, 10.4 million by 300%. Even in 1968, we had improved by 50%, by 70, by 100%. So it is possible. It is the attitude of the farmers that matters. And at present, we are surplus of rice. Our problem of the wheat rice is now storage. And lots of things are getting wasted. And just recently, on 10th of September, our Union Minister Gadkari has said that instead of wasting rice, convert to ethanol, the fuel. By that, we will be able to solve the go down storage problem, less import of fuel, and better check pollution. So that is where we are. We have got surplus, but the disparity in the production in different sectors. And all of you will be, Punjab was the leader for wheat production, but now it is from this year, 2020, it is Madhya Pradesh, which is number one. So it is possible, we can do it, and the full attention has to be there, not only by the government, but by the people, the farmers. You cannot keep on feeding them. If the farmers' attitude has to change, and we have to go ahead with that. With these, the experts are there, they will be able to take over and give us better guidance. But Vallabh is one person who came as a messiah and he changed the situation for India. And he got a Nobel Prize for it, for Mexico and for India, converting these countries from poverty to surplus. Thank you. Please go ahead, Jagannathanji.
Thank you, Major General Mahapatra ji, for welcoming.
Okay.
And I would request now Swadesh Sundar Patnaik ji, our convener of the think tank Odisha, to introduce the guests, actually, to introduce the full panel. And then we'll request the keynote address by Dr. Saurabh Garg, Principal Secretary Agriculture. Swadesh Sundar Patnaik.
Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I have the great pleasure and privilege of introducing Dr. Saurabh Garg, the Principal Secretary, Government of Odisha, Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment Department, and other two dignitaries today. Dr. Saurabh Garg, a 1991 batch of IAS officer, has achieved many superlative accolades in his life so far. He had a brilliant academic career. He completed BTech in Chemical Engineering from IIT New Delhi and was awarded the Best All-Round Student of the Year. He did MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and got gold medal as a topper. After joining IAS, he was also awarded the Best All-Round Professional at Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration. Besides his administrative acumen, he is known for his great scholarly temperament. He did PhD in International Economics and Development from the Johns Hopkins University, USA, and he was Gurukul Sevenings Fellow at the London School of Economics. He has published several scholarly articles on administration and corporate management. As a young officer, he worked in remote districts like Kalahandi and Keonjhar, and later he headed important departments like industries and urban development. In Government of India, he worked as Joint Secretary to Department of Economic Affairs, Minister of Finance, and was deputed to World Bank. Welcome, sir. Welcome very much here. And we are fortunate to have another distinguished person, Professor Dr. Prabhat Kumar Rao, MD Apical, MSc. Dr. Rao is an agronomist by profession. He completed PG in agriculture from OUAT Bhubaneswar and PhD from Indira Gandhi Agriculture University, Raipur. He started his career as a scientist agronomy in OUAT and has served the university in all three domains like teachings, research, and extension. He was the professor, dean, and the director of various programs. He was awarded the best teacher of the university in 2010. Dr. Rao has more than 50 research publications to his credit. He has visited several countries in connection with projects and research publications. Dr. Rao has been awarded with the Voivod Research Fellowship Award 2006, Janata Gaurav Award 2010, Chalachitra Jagata Pratibha Samman 2018, and Krushi Ratna Rao Samman 2018. Recently, Honorable Prime Minister of India also awarded him for his best performance in the Krishi Vigyan Kendra Bhadrak and Honorable. Welcome, sir. We have also got another expert in agriculture, Mr. Suresh Chandra Patnaik. Mr. Suresh Chandra Patnaik has dedicated 50 years of his life on strengthening natural resource management, NRM, and sustainable livelihood for women and tribals through agriculture research, extension program, planning, and management. He started his career as a scientist in rice research and was in teaching faculty in OUAT for about 10 years. Thereafter, he joined in the agriculture department, Government of Odisha, and served in various capacities and retired as managing director, Seeds, Odisha State Seed Corporation. After retirement, he worked for 11 years as a national consultant in UNDP GOI supported projects. Until now, he is associated with many extension programs. He is also associated in Research and Information Center for Odisha, RECOR, as consultant, and played a vital role in crossbreed seed production like Devi variety of groundnuts. Mr. Patnaik has contributed significantly to training initiative in the agriculture domain. He developed expertise in sloping agriculture land development, SALT model developed by Claveria, Philippines, and attended many practical training programs inside and outside the country. In 2009, Mr. Patnaik published his first book, Promotion of Sustainable Agriculture and Horticulture Development, which was widely read and used as research material. He also published many other popular books and guidelines, especially his paper on collective marketing by farmers, presented at Yangling, China, was highly appreciated. Mr. Patnaik is still active in his area of operation with the amazing volition. Welcome, sir. Welcome very much. Above all, we have Mr. Jagadanand, the co-founder and mentor of CYST, is the moderator. Welcome, sir. And the floor is now yours. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think after this, brilliant introduction of a wonderful panel, let me welcome the Principal Secretary, Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Dr. Saurav Garg, to deliver his keynote address to flag off this wonderful webinar on agriculture development in Odisha. Dr. Garg, please.
Thank you, Dr. Jagadanand. Thank you to Think Tank Odisha, Mr. Swadesh Patnaik, and the others in the Think Tank Odisha. I have very fond memories of Mr. Sudhanshu Mishra, who was the founder of Think Tank Odisha. And thank you once again. And I'm happy to see the kind of interest that people have in this topic on agriculture and its transformation going forward. I won't stress on the importance of agriculture. The Major General Mahapatra has already mentioned, Dr. Jagdananda has mentioned, nearly 2/3 of Odisha's population is dependent on agriculture and agricultural allied activities, though it provides only about 1/5 of the GDP of the state. 18% or so of the GDP is contributed. And I think that's where a lot of the issues that come up we need to focus on. Over the past 2 decades, agriculture in Odisha has changed significantly. We are now among the top 3 or 4 states who provide the maximum amount of rice to the PDS system. After Punjab and Haryana, we are number 3, 4, 5, depending on the year. We have been third, and we nearly provide more than 50 lakh tons of rice to the central pool, which is maintained by the Food Corporation of India. So that's also an area of strength where we have reached. We are one of the few states who actually doubled farmers' incomes between 2002 and 2012. And a lot of this increase of the income was based on the fact that the production system of a farmer had changed considerably. An analysis was done on the
everybody, please mute everybody. Yes.
So it showed that the 2015 analysis of a farmer's production basket or the income basket showed that 1/4 of the income, or nearly 30%, came from cropping systems. Nearly around 20 to 25% came from livestock, dairy, and those kind of incomes. Another 20 to 25% came from wage employment, and the balance 25% or so came from off-farm or non-farm incomes. So I think because of this, the risk of a farmer has considerably lessened because the farmer has number of areas from which income or aggregately come, but still, obviously, there are individual issues. So what I'm going to focus on is going forward, how are we planning to tackle agriculture? And then my colleague, Dr. Raul, who will be the MD of Apicol, he will be speaking on 3 specific schemes which young people, urban people can make use of. First of all, I would just like to highlight and show this book, Samruddhi Odisha, that we released in January 2020. It's the State Agricultural Policy 2020. And this we had done after a considerable 1 year of consultations that we did with a host of stakeholders. And it provides the vision, the objectives, and the strategy for agriculture going forward. And I would strongly urge those who are interested to please go through this document. It's available on our website, on the Government of Odisha website, it is there. It's called Samruddhi. And the reason why we had called Samruddhi is the S stands for leveraging science and technology, the A for adaptation to climate change, M for markets, physical, financial, both spot and future, R for the resource use efficiency, ensuring higher productivity, U for upscaling appropriate infrastructure, D for diversification of product to high value agriculture, H for human resource upgrading and skilling, and I for strengthening institutions. So Samruddhi, SAMURUDHI. So these are some of the areas that this policy speaks of. I obviously will not go into the details of this policy on what we want to do, but I'll pick on 2 or 3 areas which might be of interest to people who are attending this webinar. So one of the first areas that we are focusing on is diversification. We are still predominantly a paddy cultivation area. So pulses, oilseeds, fruits, vegetables, and also diversification to allied activities, especially animal or fishery related activities. So this policy speaks of the path that we would like to take. We are already incentivizing pulses and oilseeds in more ways than one in terms of incentives for production. We've also started over the past 2 or 3 years the prices support scheme, by which procurement of pulses and oilseeds are done. Up till now, people have been talking traditionally only of procurement of paddy, but we have been procuring pulses, oilseeds, millets, cotton, jute, and whether it's through different central government agencies, we are running many of these schemes. Millets, of course, we are doing on our own, but we would also be tying up with different Government of India institutions with that. So it's not that procurement is only being done of paddy. We are doing it of groundnut, we are doing it of arar, we are doing it of oilseeds, so of course ragi. So a risk which was taken care of the farmer by procurement of paddy, that same risk reduction is also being done for other products. And we are seeing an increase in the area of other products, especially fruits and vegetables. So that is one area that I would focus on going forward, that our strategy for diversification. We want that highland and midland should preferably do products which are suited for that land, and keeping in view the agroclimatic zone that there is. So that's number one. The second area which I would focus on is marketing and linkage of farmers with marketing and primary processing at the farmer level. So for example, in the millets mission that we are doing, we are tying up with self-help groups so that some of the destoning, dehulling can be done at the local level, which will increase the price that the farmer will ultimately get for his product. Similarly, trying to tie up with e-market companies. In fact, during COVID, we started this website called OD Hot Marketing, ODIHORT marketing.nic.in, where, keeping in view that perishables like fruits and vegetables could not be transported because of the lockdowns, whether we can try and meet the demand. And we had more than 1,500 vendors also on this. And we were able to send even betel wine all the way to Varanasi and pumpkins to other areas where there was excess product available. So we want to strengthen this as we go forward. And a lot of these such activities would be done making use of technology, because we have the technology that a person sitting in Dubai can also see the product, and we want to make use of that, and we are working towards that. So marketing is a second major focus that we have of the new policy, and we hope to make more use of that. The third area I would like to focus on is technology, and technology in more ways than in various ways. For example, we have now an Amar Krishi live call center. Anyone can ring up, any farmer has any issue, they can ring up 155-333, 155-333. This is open 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. On a live call center. Even if you ring up after 8 p.m. in the night or very early in the morning, the question or the issue would get recorded, and within 24 hours, either by a text message on the phone or by a voice call recorded back, the answer would be given. So we have a team which we operate a call center, nearly 100 seated, which operates, and this 155-333 is a number which we hope farmers will use more often than what they have been. At the same time, given the fact that we can now customize advisories to individual farmers, we have nearly 10 lakh farmers who are there in our database, who have given what is the kind of crops they are growing, which area they are staying in, Bolangi, let us say, in some block they are staying. So depending on the weather forecast that might be there for that area, or the pests that might be affecting nearby areas, we are able to send customized advisories to a group of farmers, keeping in view what they are growing, where they are staying, and what might happen in that area. We have a technical committee chaired by the Dean Extension in OUAT, who on a weekly basis prepare these advisories, and we are able to send them instantly to 10 lakh farmers across the state, so they are better informed on what might happen, and we keep providing technical advice also to them. Similarly, we have of progressive farmers in each GP WhatsApp groups that have been created, so that there is any farmer has a query, they can WhatsApp it to the VAW of that GP who can raise the level depending on if they are not able to answer. And this is in addition to 155 that I mentioned, where any farmer can ring up and put a query. So technology we are using, and we are using, for example, remote sensing in insurance packages, and also to improve credit. We are working with an agency so that credit to people who normally don't get credit, they have access to it. We have created a scheme also, Balaram, which is focused on sharecroppers and those people who have not been able to get credit. And we are at the back end using technology to see how they are using that funds, whether the fertilizer usage or crop growth is there. So this is at a pilot stage right now. The use of the technology, the scheme is of course launched, Balaram, and which we are working with the bankers on that. So these are 2 or 3, and one other initiative I will just talk of, and then maybe I will leave it to my colleague to talk of some of the others. We decided that the agricultural students, now we have 5 universities in the state. We earlier had only OUAT, which had 2 or 3 colleges, School of Horticulture, Agriculture, but now we have 3 or 4 more private universities. So the number of students that we have has increased now to more than 600 to 700. They also have this program where they do a kind of a 2-month or a 3-month interaction going back to their village. It's called the Rawe program, where students go to the villages to learn on the ground. So we've started using these students in the months of September and October, when normally pest attack happens, and use them as pest scouts. And for the past 2 seasons, we have used them. The present season is the first one that we are unable to send them to the field because of COVID. But I think it, number one, gave us feedback on how programs are being implemented at the ground from farmers, because these young students went, we sent 2 to each block, or depending on the area where they were, we sent 3 to a block, and they interacted with the farmers. So they learned from the farmers what's going on, and they also gave feedback to us on what are the issues, while helping us on pests, so that pests don't attack, or we can take preventive measures on pests. So I will not go into one of the other. I can just mention, for example, we have adequate rainfall available, but what we need to do is ensure that that rainfall is available for the farmer for a longer period if he or she can store it. So we've started a program called Every Willing Farmer to Have a Farm Pond. We have kept a target of digging 5 lakh farm ponds over the next 2 to 3 years under the Manrega scheme. This year's target alone is 1 lakh farm ponds, and farm ponds are of 10 meters by 10 meters by 3 meters depth, or 15 meters by 15 meters by 3 meters, or 20 meters by 20 meters by 3 meters. So a 10 feet depth is more than enough for a farmer. He can also do fishery in that and integrated farming. So out of the 1 lakh farm ponds that we have a target this year, we have already selected somewhere around 70,000 farmers across the state. Last year, we had a target of around 19,000, out of which 11,000 were already completed. We started very late, but even then we could do 11,000 farm ponds. And we keep on our Facebook page, on our Twitter page, we give progress of these farm ponds. But we hope that this 5 lakh farm ponds will help to retain moisture where it is supposed to be there, and also give a fillip to integrated farming, so that on the bunds, they can do fruits and vegetables, duckery or fishery can be done. So we are working on this, and we hope that the farmer's income will therefore to that extent become so much more stable. And the last intervention that I would like to speak on is the farmer producer organizations, which is a very major policy thrust for us. We had formulated an FPO policy in 2018. There was another policy that we had also done in 2018, which is the organic farming policy. I'm not focusing on organic farming today because that will require a full discussion in itself. But on the FPOs, we have been doing work with NABARD and with the Agriculture Production Cluster Program, which is running in 40 blocks. And we have an ambitious program for having farmer producer organizations, because this will help individual farmers to be able to aggregate their produce and have a better bargaining position with large marketeers or on e-commerce. So I'm sure in fact, today morning I had a review on the millets mission, and I was happy to see nearly 63 farmer producer organizations having been created in the millets area alone, apart from what we are doing in fruits and vegetables. So an FPOs is a very, very important input. And since I talked of organic farming, we have an organic farming policy which has lays out what are the steps. We already are working on around more than now it's 20 or 25,000 hectares where under the Paramparagat Krishi Vigyan Yojana, PKVY, we are working. And whether it's the millets mission, whether it's the PKVY program, we are ensuring that every program we associate NGOs or CBOs with that. In fact, Dr. Jagdananda might be aware, CYSD is a partner in some of these programs. And we feel that having NGOs along with us enables better community connect, better communications with the farmers, and therefore better implementation of the government programs. So this was a broad overview with that gave. I would be happy if your listeners today go through our policy, and we would be very happy to engage with them going forward. We have a very active Twitter and Facebook page where we keep informing us, and we get feedback also. And of course, as I mentioned, the call center that we have, the 155-333, 155-333 is another area where we would be happy to engage with all of you. My colleague, Dr. Raul, who's MD of Apicol, he'll be speaking of 3 areas where many of your listeners can also participate. One is the Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, where we want agricultural entrepreneurs to set up various processing areas, cold rooms, cold storages, etc. And we give 40 or 50% capital subsidy. And along with that, there is the Agricultural Infrastructure Fund, where you can get interest subvention of 3%. So these details my colleague would be talking about. And there's a third program, the MIDH, which is on horticulture development, floriculture, horticulture, mushroom. So he would be talking about that also. So with these words, I thank Think Tank Orissa and the entire team for having me. I'm unfortunately will not be able to stay for the duration. I'll be there for some time. But my colleague, Dr. Raul, and of course, Mr. Patnaik, who is well acquainted with the Agriculture Department and OUAD, and other experts like Dr. Jagdananda, and I see Vivek Patnaik and Gokul Patnaik also on this. They are very well informed. I'm sure they will be able to answer many of the questions. So once again, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And I look forward to continue being engaged with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, for a brilliant exposition to the range of programs which government is doing currently, trying to do in future, and very heavily focusing its attention through a serious program. So thank you very much for really exposing the think tank and the team here. And as part of the program, towards end of the program, even if you are not there, Swadesh Babu and others, General Mahapatra, we have a system of sharing with you some of the highlights, some of the recommendations which comes out of this conversation, and we will not hesitate to share that with you, and then you can take it up in your own way, right? So,
thank you. I would love to have that feedback, so that will help us to improve our program. Thank you once again. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you. I think with this, we have now heard our Principal Secretary Agriculture, who exposed us to the range of programs which Government of Odisha is doing currently, and thinking futuristically. With this, I'm requesting Professor Prabhat Kumar Raul, MD Apicol, and Professor Raul is an academic, but managing a big program, the Agri Entrepreneurship Program. So over to you, Professor Raul. And so you will have about 12-15 minutes, Professor Raul.
Respected Principal Secretary, Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment Department, Government of Odisha, the organizers, esteemed members of Think Tank Odisha,
Not clear. Not clear.
Not audible properly.
Not audible.
Professor Raul,
Yeah.
there is the echo going on in your. Is there a telephone close to you? Or two systems close to you? Please switch off one system and concentrate in one system. Thank you. Thank you.
So, is it audible now?
Yes, better. Go ahead.
Yeah. Respected Principal Secretary, Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment, Government of Odisha, the organizers, esteemed members of Think Tank Odisha, and Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Bhubaneswar, my fellow panelists, learned participants. Honestly, I am privileged to be a part of the webinar on agricultural development in Odisha. I will try to share some of my thoughts on food processing and agro-based enterprises with a special mention of 3 flagship projects as kindly mentioned by our Principal Secretary, which are being implemented by Government of Odisha under the umbrella of Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment Department.
Please go ahead.
So, yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no need to mention that agriculture is important to Odisha's economy. It provides direct and indirect employment to about 70% of the total workforce and significantly contributes to the GDP. The state agriculture has become less productive and less remunerative in absence of value addition and processing. But in spite of that, we have a lot of strength with us, particularly the Odisha diverse agroclimatic conditions. We have 10 agroclimatic zones, 8 major soil types to accommodate a series of crops, and it is favorable for production of different types of crops and commodities, be it vegetables, fruits, spices, plantation and cash crops. In the marine segment, the state has a long coastline of 480 kilometers, having opportunities for coastal as well as inland freshwater aquaculture. We have also, in the logistics side, we have railways and national highways connecting major cities of the country, providing ample opportunities for surface transport, besides the new vista for air transport as the international airport at Bhubaneswar opens. A large number of institutes, starting with OUAT and ICR institutes and CSIR institutes, they are available for supporting R&D activities. Above all, there is promotional organizations like Agricultural Promotion and Investment Corporation of Odisha Limited, as we say apical, for promotion of commercial agricultural enterprises and to take care of encouraging the youth in this regard. And as I talk, food processing industry sector has been accorded with high priority with a number of fiscal incentives to encourage commercialization and value addition to agricultural produces. And obviously, food processing minimizes not only post-harvest losses, but also pre-harvest losses, commercialization, value addition, generating employment and income for youths. And the inherent strength of the state can support and sustain.
Professor Raul, take disturbance hochi. Can you switch off your video for the time being? Presentation hotibo, apanko voice ame suniba. Kana kono gote connectivity problem rauchi. So sound re there are gote echo hochi. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
So, is it audible now?
Yeah, it's better. It's clearer. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, these are aspects where we have strength so far as processing is concerned. Even in the rice, we can have rice noodles.
Not audible. Not audible. Not audible.
No, there is a problem. आपनकर जे से रूम रे थिबो टिके कहबे वीडियो टा ऑफ कर दबो देखिबा whether it's better टिके वीडियो टा ऑफ कर दबो देखिबा जदी कनेक्टिविटी इज बेटर यस गो अहेड आपन कोन तू कहि चालन
sorry sir we have also processing industry
No improvement.
sorry sir
असुविधा होची there is some problem
Problem.
no
I think try switching off the screen. Try switching off the screen. Will it help?
no I think he's out of the screen the video is he has switched off audio line is on maybe there is some problem in the audio line Professor Raul take a distance re rahibe nale dekhibe if you can stay little distance from the system
yeah it is now manageable no any amendment
there is a problem
No.
अच्छा
No.
ये प्रोफेसर राहुल आपण एथरे करंतु मोबाइल रे करंतु आपनकर एटा छाडी दियंतु मोबाइल रे कले मध्ये ठीक हबो you enter through the mobile आपनकर मध्ये लैपटॉप रे किछ असुविधा अछि
I don't know by this standard still sir no amendment any amendment sir
no there is no improvement
I think Mr.
I'm so sorry.
Jagadanand may consider the other speaker till the time Mr. Rahul sets his thing right.
that is
The
better
coordinator may consider.
brilliant proposition
The coordinator
I
may
will request-
consider asking the next speaker to take on,
Okay.
and then we can get Mr. Rahul back.
right Swaroop tike please work with Professor Raul tankar system sangare kon tike katha varta kariki whoever is assisting Professor Raul in the system work so negotiate with him work with him liaise with him and set
Yes,
it right
Yes,
yeah
sir.
and with this let me request Suresh Chandra Patnaik to come over and share with his ideas with us then we'll go back to Professor Raul thank you Major Mahapatra ji. Suresh Patnaik.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just one second.
स्क्रीन शेयर टाको ऑफ कर देबे वर्तमान आउ थरे ऑन करके आपण जिबे हां
Correct.
let me tell you we are almost nearing 100 which is the maximum capacity we can take there are still people in the waiting room we are not able to accommodate them there is a huge interest to be part of this gathering so thank you very much and those of you who are not able to join we'll send you a recorded version at an appropriate time thank you.
Namaskar. Good evening to everybody. At the outset, I thank the organizer and respected audience for the webinar. Next, please. In my agenda, I have made 3 parts: plan for agriculture development, marketing assistance, and strategies and technologies for agriculture. First, I will come for plan for agriculture development. GP level planning, I have suggested to incorporate in the district plan. Mahatma Gandhi told, greater the power of panchayat, the better for the people. GPs have been mandated for preparation of GP development plan for economic development and social justice and consolidation to the district level plan as per Article 243G of the Constitution. So plans should be participatory and comprehensive. This is my suggestion. This should be included in the district plan. The processes, as you know, village stock taking, resource analysis, SWOT analysis, vision development and plan. The most important part is discussion with the different groups of the community, like women group, ST/SC group, disabled group, male group, about the issues and problems and solution and prioritization. Accordingly, plan can be made. This is my first slide. Then marketing assistance. Honorable Secretary Agriculture has already told about the formation of the FPOs. I'll simply tell few other informations. This is a central sector scheme. Government of India has already decided to form and promote 10,000 FPOs within a period of 5 years by 23-24, and subsequently 4 years handholding support will be given till 27-28 with a budgeted provision of 6,865 crores. These FPOs are collectivization of primary producers and registered under Company Act or Cooperative Society Act. It helps improve access to the inputs, technologies and marketing. As per Government of India, the Small Farmers Agri-Business Consortium, SFSC, NCDC and NABARD are the implementing agencies. These FPOs will be promoted at the cluster level by business organization with 5 professionals. This crop science, IT, marketing, infrastructure, and like that. The type of support to the FPOs will be given on new technology, infrastructure, value addition, IT application, marketing, intelligence and linkage, finance arrangement, equity grant and credit guarantee, etc. The different activities of the FPOs are production, harvesting, aggregation, processing, marketing and export. Odisha has, Secretary has already told, Odisha has already made a comprehensive policy during 2018 and guidelines and 4 directorates: agriculture, horticulture, fishery and animal science. They are now forming 1,080 FPOs by 22-23, covering about 10 lakhs farmers. So under the guidance of Resource Institute in each directorate, this is all about FPOs. It will be a great help for marketing. Then this also our Secretary has already told. I will not repeat. Procurement of FAQ standard agriculture produce at MSP. This is ongoing program. Then this also our Secretary has already told. The Agriculture Department has already launched a website during Corona lockdown period for marketing of the agriculture produce. This dedicated website will continue for marketing of various fruits, nuts, vegetables, spices, mushroom, flowers, honeybee, beetle vine, etc. Now I will speak about the farm bills. The legal environment for contract farming. Very recently, this has been passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Odisha Agriculture Produce Livestock Contract Farming also, Odisha government has promulgated an ordinance during 2020 May. Here the agreement of farmers as per Government of India format, it will be done when the agreements between the company and farmers as per Government of India format, and maximum 5 years period will be given. Agreement can be altered or terminated. State law cannot affect this act. Provide improved production, pre-season price agreement for sale of the produce. Buyers pays market rate if it is higher than the pre-season price agreement. Jodi market rate बढ़ीगला agreement थारू ताले buyers माने ताटू अधिका पैसा देबे. Protect land rights of the owners and land cannot be modified. Agro inputs credit provided by the company entrepreneurs will be recovered from the sale proceeds of produce. Besides, technology will be provided by the company. Government of India is thinking this will increase investment on farm sector. There is also 3-tier dispute settlement system. In the beginning, conciliation board is there. Subsequently, at the sub-divisional level, SDM is there. Thereafter, collector is there, but it will have no judicial review. This is all about contract farming. Then next law which has been passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, barrier-free interstate and intrastate trade and commerce farm produce. This is most problematic bill as told by the farmers and different parties, but also it is told as APMC bypass bill. But our state also has already promulgated an ordinance on this. Promote efficient transport of farmers' produce, agriculture, horticulture, fishery and animal outside the market yards notified under APMC. Through PAN card by traders, except FPOs and cooperatives. Farmers and traders enjoy the freedom of choice relating to sale and purchase of farmers' produce and greater competition of market. Payment can be done within 3 days' time. There is also 3-tier dispute settlement system. E-trading can be done through eNAM portal, promote private sector investment. But the demand of the farmer is traders and FPOs, cooperatives should not procure produce below minimum support price. Here there are so many confusions also. Many experts have told that this may lead to APMC and procurement collapse in future. Bills has no provision for price signal because traders outside APMC, they will come without fees and look to APMC a reference price. Larger number of traders will come and there may collapse of APMC and procurement of through MSP. And some of the experts, they speak that Government of India is thinking to replace FCI and money transfer to PDS system. This will also create problem. Big corporate eye on agriculture produce as agriculture goods suffer less in pandemic due to consumption item. Especially, they are very much interested for grain market. Corporate will look of intermediary outside APMC who will aggregate the produce. So here there is no lack of government regulation, state interventions. These are some of the problems in this act. Then third, Farmers Bill is Essential Commodities Amendment Bill 2020. This has also been passed in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. This is deregulated cereals, pulses, oilseeds, edible oils, potato and onion, these 6. And there is provision that this can also be revert back in the case of extraordinary circumstances like natural calamity, war, situation due to excessive rise of rates of those deregulated commodities. So this is a central act. People are also thinking now because onion price has increased. Probably the big businessmen ordered this stock. We cannot say at this moment what will be the impact of this act. Then Government of India has recently announced Agriculture Infrastructure Fund for 1 lakh crores. This is a financing scheme for market infrastructure for agricultural produce. This will continue from 2020 to 2029. This facility will be given through banks to improve post-harvest management, that is collection centers, pre-processing facilities, warehousing, cold chain and food processing, etc. Credit facility will also be given. This can be given to PACs, farmers, FPOs, SSGs, multipurpose cooperative society, agri-entrepreneurs, joint liability group, central state agency. Facility for borrower, there is also subsidy of interest by 3% and credit guarantee for loan up to 2 crores. Then I shall come to strategies and technologies for agriculture. This is number 1 is irrigation development. Productivity increases by 55 to 60% due to irrigation. About 80% of current water used by agriculture sector. There are a number of challenges in irrigation. There is low efficiency, about 35 to 40% efficiency, inequity distribution, mismatch supply and demand, salinity development, waterlogging. These are challenges of irrigation. Odisha government has made certain plans, irrigation master plans. In 2005-06, 35% irrigation will be developed in each block That was their target. At that time, 198 blocks did not have 35% irrigation. By end of 2020, I think March 2020, March, now 66 blocks out of original target. That means already a 35% irrigation plan has been developed in 122 blocks. Then another plan, additional development for irrigation 10 lakh hectare in 5 years from 2014 and 15 with budgetary provision of 26,899 crores. Already developed 7.07 lakh hectare by June 2019. This is irrigation plan in Odisha. Actual irrigation is about 43%, Kharif 22 lakhs, Rabi 12 lakhs hectare. The various ongoing programs of irrigation is BKVY, Biju Krishak Yojana. This LIP and MIPs are done under this program. Deep borewell program, accelerated irrigation program, JICA program, Japan Bank program supported by Asian Bank, RIDF Jalanidhi. This is our apical also. This is a subsidy program for the private irrigation. Check dam, farm pond, mega LIPs, CADA, canal lining, tank management, dam improvement, World Bank program, NOREGA, and this mineral fund DMF and OMDAC. This is all about the source of finance, and Odisha government is keenly interested for development of irrigation. Next is, this is most important part, development of tribal agriculture. It is most challenging in Odisha. Community mobilization and formation of groups, maybe community-based organization for technology transfer, it is most challenging. All the NGOs, they are having expertise on community mobilization as compared to the government officers. This I have been telling many times as per my experience in OTLP. And I have worked with more than 50 NGOs in the state, including CYST also. And without community mobilization, transfer of technology cannot be made. In our state, about 1 crore tribal population is there, 1 tribal population including 1 lakh PVTs. There are 22 lakhs tribal families. A number of tribal communities follow Podu cultivation in 5.2 lakh hectare. This is 2007 data, and get low income. If you see many PVTs like Kutia Kandha, Lanjia Saura, Paudi Bhuya, Juango, Bonda, Kandha, Koya, Gadba, Parja, these groups go for this Podu cultivation. Till now, we could not develop any salt model in Odisha in the line of world agroforestry. Government is giving lot of support for tribal agriculture. FRA 2006, already Odisha government has given land patta in the area to the tribals for an area of 2.32 lakh hectare. Also, Odisha government has given full power for procurement of right for 67 NTFP to GP. These are some of the benefits given to the tribals. Many programs, tribal area sub-plan, OTLP, OPLEP, OTLP plus, millet mission in 72 blocks. Very recently, Secretary told of 14 districts, and number of NGOs are also coming, working in that millet mission. Focus area development program, integrated farming system in watershed area, PKVY, Secretary just now told regarding organic farming, RKVY, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, roots and tuber crops. This is very important because tribals prefer these roots and tuber crops, and promotion of agriculture production cluster, APCs. Many NGOs are now working in tribal areas. MOU of the Directorate of Horticulture with Pradhan, OLM, BRLF, covering 1 lakh farmers in 12 districts for market linkage, production of crops. Budget is 401 crores. They are claiming that 550 FPOs already formed. In these tribal areas, the most priority areas are organic farming because they are by default organic. So we should promote organic farming in those tribal areas. we should promote biofortified crop varieties, the crop varieties which have high protein content, iron content, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin A. A number of varieties have been already released. CR 310 Dhan variety, protein 10%. Like that, many varieties have been developed. So those biofortified varieties should be promoted. Nutri cereals, millets. These millets, ragi, kodo, swa, gulji, kangu, these millets, they are having a very high amount of nutrients, and this magnesium content of these millets checks diabetes. Soluble fiber prevents gallstone, repair body tissues, these nutri-cereals, and heart protective foods. These are very important things for the tribals. And also another good in the tribal areas.
5 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go. Yes.
I'll complete within 5 minutes. Wadi model. This is a very nice model. The tribals are going for different types of plantation of fruits, and they go for intercropping of different vegetables. And they are a lot of profitable in this model. In Koraput, Kalandi, and Gajapati districts, lot of mango hubs have been created. Then strengthening of research at agroclimatic zones at the OUAT level. We have 10 agroclimatic zones in Odisha, and there are 8 regional research stations in 10 agroclimatic zones at Semligoda, Bhavanipatna, Chiplima, Keonjhar, Ranital, Denkanal, Bhubaneswar, and G. Udayagiri. These have been created looking to the major climates and broad soil types with those regions. Presently, farmers need a lot from these agroclimatic research stations. What are the suitable varieties of fruits and vegetables, including off-season vegetables in those areas? What are the different models for production diversification to horticulture? What is the model of nutritive sensitive agriculture? What is the model of doubling farming income? What is salt model? What is crop specific technologies, organic farming, reason for reduction of curcumin percentage in turmeric, for which export is hampered, technologies for pest endemic areas. These are required regional research station wise. At present, there are 55 scientists and 100 supporting staff are vacant. So government may allow OUAT to fill up the post. Since I am the member in the board of management in OUAT, I know all these details. Then this is the technologies. Since I am only having 5 minutes time, this is rain-fed agriculture. 57% cultivable land is rain-fed. So we should grow for more areas or low water duty crop, pulses, oilseed millets. Harvesting and conservation of rainwater also is the priority. Surface runoff, how we go for bonding, half moon pit, terracing, even gully control by loose boulder structures, water harvesting structures, check dams, farm ponds. These are some of the technologies. Then use of drought tolerant varieties. A number of paddy varieties, drought tolerant varieties have been developed. Vandana, Saubhagi Dhana, Satyabhama, this can be also cultivated. Micro irrigation like drip sprinkler irrigation can be developed. A number of schemes also are working. The main scheme, rain-fed area development watershed, is working. This is regarding rain-fed lowland agriculture. About 12 lakh hectares is fallow, most of the areas. So there should be intensification of rice fallow areas. There are two situations. One is rain-fed shallow lowland, where water depth up to 25 cm. Another is swampy lowland, which is saturated, oversaturated in dry season and kept fallow. In the rain-fed shallow lowland, in the silt clay soil, minimum tillage, and you can go for lentil, linseed, mustard, gram, miri, mung, etc. In the clay loam, you can go for pyra cupping, field pea, which is broadcasted in standing kharif paddy, 15 to 20 days of harvest. In the vast area of Kalandi, you will find this pyra cropping. In the swampy lowland, the ICR Institute and OUAT, they have also developed a raised and sunken bed technology for rice plus cropping. In the simultaneously you grow this vegetables and also paddy. Then this is another important aspect, village seed bank. The seed can increase yield by 15%. It is very difficult for the organized sector to meet the demand of the farmers in the inaccessible area. So we have experience in OTLP. We can go for seed bank at the village level by identifying women SSG, grade A women SSG, and identify the good grower. Capacity building has to be done, arrangement of seed and input for grower to be done, guidance and monitoring of seed production, seed storage in Pokka building, everything can be guided. And women SSG having godown facilities can easily produce TL seeds through growing certified paddy seeds by the selective progressive farmers of the village. These women SSGs will purchase sheaves, gunny, stitching machines, new gunny bags for seed production. On the body of the TL seed gunny bag, the name of the women SSG, crop variety, germination percentage and purity of seeds can be written, and the need of the village can be managed. This is my last slide, sir. This is diversification of production of high value outputs. Already Secretary has told, substituting paddy in high and medium land. There is scope for at least 5 lakh hectare in Odisha. Benefits is constant flow of income, employment generation, conservation of natural resources, effective recycling of farm byproducts. We can go for fruits, vegetables, rubber, coffee, floriculture. There should be integration of production and marketing. Here there will be great role of FPOs again. Farm mechanization is my last point. The mechanization can increase yield by 15% and reduce cost production by 20%. Subsidy facilities through DBT system, direct benefit transfer, also available for various machineries. Agro service centers are now working as custom hiring service in very different areas. Secretary has told that we are also giving weekly advisory through mobile app with the support of OUAT. Here we have taken paddy, sugarcane, cotton, e-pest surveillance. July to November, December to April. Details of pest surveillance is done 2 villages per day, 4 days per week, each day 1 fixed plot and 1 acre and 2 random plots. In this way, the data are collected. Finally, that is sent to the OUAT and they give weekly advisory. So thank you so much. These are some of the major schemes of Agriculture Department. This is all about what I thought to share.
Thank you, Suresh Babu, and for a brilliant presentation. And you have so many things to share because you are a practitioner, you are an academic, you are an advisor, you are a consultant, and you are whatnot. So you have a full toolkit actually to share. And unfortunately, we have very limited time, but I'm sure everybody would have enjoyed the presentation made by Suresh Babu. And if there are questions, you will be very happy to respond. I think now we should get back to Professor Raul, the MD, Apical. I think his system is set now. So over to Professor Raul. Please use the chat box for raising any comment, question. I will pick up those after Professor Raul finishes. Yes, Professor Raul.
Am I audible?
Go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Go ahead, please. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, sorry for interruption. Agriculture is obviously important to state economy, and we need to focus more on the value addition and processing. And the strength for this is our diverse agroclimatic conditions, which are favorable for a series of crops and cropping systems. In the marine segment, we have a long coastline, therefore suitable.
As Raul Babu, that is the right place. ଆଉ ତାକୁ ମୁହ ଏପଟ ସେପଟ କରନ୍ତୁନି kindly. ସେଇଠି କହିଲେ ବଢିଆ ଆସୁଛି. Right, that is the right place.
In the marine segment, yeah, please, thank you, sir. In the marine segment, we have a long coastline of more than 80 kilometers, 480 kilometers. Therefore, opportunities for coastal aquaculture as well as inland aquaculture. We have the infrastructure facilities like railways, national highways, and with the upcoming of international airport at Bhubaneswar, things can happen better. We have large number of institutes, be it state agriculture university, private agriculture universities, ICR institutes, CSR institutes, and many more. Above all, the presence of Agricultural Promotion and Investment Corporation of Odisha Limited, APICL, can make the things happen for the young entrepreneurs in establishing agricultural enterprises. Food processing industry sector has been accorded high priority with a number of fiscal incentives to encourage commercialization and value addition to agricultural produces, because it minimizes not only pre-harvest but also post-harvest losses. It facilitates commercialization, value addition, generating employment and income, more particularly focusing on the youth. The inherent strength of the state can support and sustain a series of crops and commodities which are not only cereals, pulses and oilseeds, but also fruits and vegetables, spices, dairy and dairy related products, poultry and related meat products, so also fish and other marine products. Looking at the long list of agricultural products produces, be it agricultural or maybe allied, we have the rice based, we have the maize based, we have the millet based, pulses, oilseed based, spices based, and also added to that we have vegetable based processing sectors, fruit based processing sectors. Cashew is our inherent strength, so also coastal Odisha is endowed with coconut, which has a lot of income and processing opportunities. In the allied sector, be it milk processing towards food items like rasgulla or cenabul, meat processing, fish processing, we have a lot of strength so far as the state is concerned. Few years back, the state has established a seafood park at Deras, which is first of its kind, as I am informed, in the entire east coast of India. It focuses on seafood and marine products processing, a central processing center, which is connected to 7 primary centers to access raw materials. And any entrepreneur interested for this can establish his own unit where the infrastructure and common facilities have been established by the state government. But more particularly, we have an enabling ecosystem. Our Principal Secretary has already indicated we have the state agricultural policy recently revised as Samruddhi 2020. We have also Odisha food processing policy, Odisha industrial policy, Odisha MSME development policy, and all these policies act as a catalyst for promotion of food processing and agri-based industries. And particularly this Agricultural Promotion and Investment Corporation of Odisha Limited, as we say APICL, it acts as a single window clearance platform for promotion and disbursement of incentives while establishing agri enterprises as per state agricultural policy. If we look back the state agricultural history of state agricultural policy, the first policy was declared in 1996, and the historic declaration was agriculture was given the status of industry. In the meantime, it has undergone several incarnations or avatars, as we say, maybe in 2008, 2013, and the most recent one, 2020 Samruddhi, which aims at harnessing the potential of Odisha's agriculture in a sustainable manner, aiming at continuously raising farmers' income and welfare. By and large, starting from 1996 till 2020, we find that the policy supports agri-entrepreneurship. As rightly pointed out by Principal Secretary, I will try to submit three important flagship schemes as big as possible with respect to entrepreneurship promotion in the state. The first one is Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, and as it is abbreviated MKUI, it is being implemented as applicable as a nodal agency. And the second one, Patnaik Sahab has already mentioned, Agricultural Infrastructure Fund, AIF. It is being implemented, Directorate of Agriculture and Food Processing as the nodal agency. And the third one is being implemented by the Directorate of Horticulture, and the scheme, the flagship scheme of the Directorate is Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture, as we say, MITH. Coming to the Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, as implemented by APICOL, the key features are, it was launched in 1st of June 2018. Online application through a user-friendly website. I do emphasize it is apicol.nic.in, and also a mobile app, MKUI, operates for the purpose. We have a time-bound implementation and administration of incentives, and transparency in implementation, accessibility to all the stakeholders, starting from an entrepreneur in the village area till the Principal Secretary Agriculture and Farmers Empowerment. Accountability is ensured through direct involvement of line department officials, be it in the department or a Directorate of Agriculture, Horticulture, Animal Resource Development, Fisheries, or Food Processing. It aims at earning a net profit of as low as 2 lakhs per annum through establishing enterprises relating to agriculture, to horticulture, animal resource development, fisheries, food processing enterprises. And there is a provision of a subsidy at the rate of 40% for general category male and 50% for private sector, which includes the women, the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribe, and of course, agricultural graduates. And when I talk of agricultural graduates, it takes into account not only agriculture, the entire sector of agri and allied graduates. And there is a subsidy capping for some individual enterprises, and the upper capping is 50 lakhs. That means if we go for establishing any enterprise, incentives up to 50 lakhs can be availed by the entrepreneur. So this particular Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana is a unique feature in the state entrepreneurship development program, and our youths, those who are interested particularly in the present scenario, should come forward for establishing their own enterprises and availing necessary incentives being provided by the state under state agricultural policy. The second one, as it was somewhere indicated, it is about the Agriculture Infra Fund. Actually, it is being operated by Directorate of Agriculture and Food Production as a nodal agency, and it aims at facilitating credit-linked projects for post-harvest management and community farming assets to improve agricultural infrastructure. So it mostly focuses on agricultural infrastructure, and it is obviously need to be 100% credit linked, and it acts as a top-up for other enterprises. For example, one particular enterprise, say a cashew processing unit that has been supported by, say, APICOL through MKUI, can also avail a top-up of 3% interest subvention under this Agri Infrastructure Fund. And for the entire country, 1 lakh crore Agri Infrastructure Fund has been announced, and our share, so far as the state is concerned, is 2,500 crore in a span of 10 years. The eligible agencies are primary agricultural credit societies, marketing cooperative societies, farmer producer organizations, self-help group, farmers, joint liability groups, and multi-purpose cooperative societies, agri-entrepreneurs, startups, aggregation infrastructure providers, central and state agencies, and local bodies sponsored under public-private partnership project. And the interest subvention, so far as the incentives are concerned, it is to the tune of, it is exactly 3% per annum, and all loans will have interest subvention of 3% per annum up to a loan limit of 2 crore. That is the upper limit. and this subvention will be available as a top-up for a maximum period of 7 years. I may underline the word top-up because if at all the entrepreneur, the enterprise has availed any incentives from any other organization, from any other source, it can be added over and above to that. The scheme duration is obviously 10 years from 2020 to 2029. And FPOs, as it was discussed earlier, the FPOs can also avail the benefits of this scheme.
Rahul Babu, the scheme details we can read also, but highlights that is better. Thank you.
Yeah. So I am trying to confine to that. The viable projects for building community farming assets are organic input productions. Hopefully these will be helpful for the purpose that you are indicating. Biostimulant production units, infrastructure for smart and precision agriculture, projects identified for providing supply chain, then projects promoted by central, state, local governments or their agencies under PPP mode. And so also under post-harvest area, we have supply chain services, we have warehouses, we have silos can be supported, pack houses, assaying units, sorting and grading units, cold chains, logistic facilities, primary processing centers or farm gate processing units, and the ripening chambers can also be supported over and above the incentives from other agencies. Then the third flagship project of Agriculture Department is Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture, as briefly we say MIDH. And it aims at holistic growth and development of horticulture sector in diverse agroclimatic conditions of the state, particularly focusing on technology promotion, extension, post-harvest management, marketing, nutritional security to the households, employment generation, as well as exploration of export potential. And coming to this MIDH, there are cafeteria of assistance, be it a tissue culture unit. I was looking at 1 crore up to 1 crore rupees can be supported for a tissue culture units. So similarly for high-tech nursery, mushroom cultivation, protected cultivation, open cultivation of fruits, vegetables, spices, ornaments, rejuvenation of old and senile orchards, horticulture mechanization, and also beekeeping are some of the focal areas which are being supported by under this MIDH. And this cafeteria of assistance also includes post-harvest management infrastructure, including cold chain, supply system, processing, and as far as the scheme highlights is concerned, all these projects need to be credit linked. And market infrastructure is also supported under MIDH. Apart from that, the HRD activities and also for academic institutions like OUT and others, need-based projects for interaction, seminars, workshops, and exhibitions are also being supported. So, sir, I tried to put forth 3-4 things. Number one, the possibility, opportunities for food processing in our state. Then the second one is highlighting 3 major projects being implemented in the state for promotion of agri-enterprises, which includes Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, then the Agri Infra Fund, and the third one is also the Mission on for Integrated Development of Horticulture. Now, to mention that all these are opportunities for focusing on youths, and nurturing youth entrepreneurship can be of immense benefit, as we understand those will not only provide employment but also income, and our youth can be converted to job creators rather than job seekers. So promoting youth entrepreneurship will ensure bringing youth to the mainstream with employment and income opportunities. I'm extremely sorry for the inconvenience caused to, particularly for the senior people who have been disturbed due to my distorted voice. Once again, I thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think, time is up. We have only 10 minutes to go, but with your all permission, can we extend another 10 minutes? Come in the chat box, please. Say yes.
Yes, please, go ahead. Please
I
go
think
ahead.
we should go. I think
Thank
we
you.
should go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Then,
Go ahead.
there are 2 sets of questions which have come so far. One set of questions related to potato and onion. It has come from Saroj Patnaik, sir. Sarojji has asked how soon we can be independent, how soon we can be autonomous in procuring, growing potato in the state of Odisha. We had a potato mission. Where is that? And what is the development? And on onion, we are still dependent on Maharashtra. Is there any attempt to make our state independent from Maharashtra and West Bengal in respect of potato and onion? The second set of questions related to Suresh Babu. So I think the first question, Professor Raul can respond. The second set of question is, recently Parliament has enacted these three principal, major amendments, right? So what are the pros and cons of it? While you presented it in your slide, right? So people are interested to know whether we support it or whether we oppose it. Is it going to be beneficial for the farmers or it is not going to be beneficial for the farmers? So Suresh Babu can very briefly say that. And the third set of question is, there is an entrepreneur in this webinar from Cuttack. He has, he's promoting mushroom in a big way. He said for, setting up a mushroom, what you call production center, what kind of incentives he can expect from the government? That is Professor Raul, please. So mushroom, onion, potato to Professor Raul, and Parliament bill to Patnaik ji.
Let me start responding from the question number 3. So far as mushroom is concerned, actually under this Mukhyamantri Krishi Udyog Yojana, mushroom is being supported as an enterprise, and an entrepreneur has to have a forward linkage or a backward linkage, in the sense not only mushroom production. So far as the backward linkage is concerned, he has to integrate a spawn production unit, and so far as forward linkage is concerned, he can have a processing unit, either or. It is not that it should have a spawn to processing. So he can have spawn and production, or production and processing. So under this, we have a standard unit size, but that can be proportionately enhanced, and the necessary DPR can be prepared and uploaded in our website. Even my number can be shared. I will be in touch with the entrepreneur how comfortably and successfully he will upload the DPR. If he fails in preparing a DPR, Apical has the facility to provide him hand-holding support in preparing a DPR, and after successful, he will be provided with a go-ahead letter by the district administration, and after successful completion, whatever capital investments are there to the tune of 50% in case of women and priority sector, and for 40% in case of a general male can be availed, and the limit is 50 lakhs. And many such projects have been supported by us. Sir, so far as the onion and potato is concerned, it is always a debatable issue. We know that we are trying to overcome out of it, but we have not been able to overcome, and the government is prioritizing it as a top crop: tomato, potato, and tomato, onion, and potato. And under this, the present government scheme and programs, these crops are also given due importance. And hopefully, in other occasions, Director of Horticulture will be able to throw much more light on this.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Raul. I would request Vidyadhar Maharana, if you can, share your question actually, because I'm not getting your question. Vidyadhar Maharana is with us. He's a very seasoned, what you call, professional promoting agriculture, especially with small and marginal farmers. So Vidyadhar Maharana, please. His question is, what are the prospects of nutrition sensitive agriculture? Climate smart village, integrated intensive farming systems involving agri, horti, livestock and fishery in Odisha. That means, how do we promote integrated farming in Odisha in a big way? Because small ones, they cannot put everything in one basket. They would like to have an integrated system. If agriculture doesn't work that year, maybe horticulture will give them money. If horticulture, agriculture fails, they can get something from the livestock, or if that also fails, they can get something from the fishery. So what is the integrated farming practice? That is the point.
To respond it from apical side, apical promotes and supports establishment of integrated farming units, and the entrepreneur either need to have his own land, or the land would be, if she is a lady, the land would have been owned by her husband. There is no formal transaction required between the wife and husband so far as the land ownership is concerned. We consider and take into account. And the third one, it can be a leased land where the integrated farming system unit can be established, and n number of combinations are possible so far as the integrated farming system is concerned. Again, the subsidy range is 40 to 50%, and the subsidy limit is up to 50 lakhs. And mostly in the present day, with the changing scenario, many youths who have earlier served as software engineers, as management professionals, are coming back home, are in touch with us, and have established several integrated farming units, which includes dairy, poultry, goattery, and so also pisciculture, and also horticulture or high value crops. So these are possible in the apical domain, and moreover under Mission for Integrated Development of Horticulture (MIDH), it also has a key objective of addressing nutritional issues. So any program that will help in addressing nutritional aspect is being supported either under open condition or under high tech and controlled condition are being supported by Mission under Integrated Development of Horticulture. So these are some of the avenues that can address the issue.
Kindly give the period for lease. You mentioned land has to be either owned or on lease. How many years lease?
Sir, it is 15 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think over to Suresh Babu. Do we have, can I request Bibek Patnaik also actually to come in? Are you there, sir? Bibek Patnaik. Okay. So Suresh Babu. Suresh
Jagadananda Babu, this act, the bill, etc., that is too long. Debating that will take a lot of time. So I think we won't be able to tackle that. If there is other question, you can take it on, otherwise conclude.
Okay.
It's already time. It's already 6:35.
Fine. Thank you. I think that, there are not many questions, but suggestions which have come in the chat box. And I would request, since we are recording the proceedings, please capture the chat box recording as well, So it's very, very important. And I will request Swaroop to capture the chat box conversation so that we report when we prepare that. And since Principal Secretary Agriculture has agreed to look at the recommendations from the think tank Odisha group, I'm sure we'll be able to produce something with the advisory, support and expert guidance of Saroj Babu, Suresh Patnaik, and the whole team.
Sir, can I take 2 minutes to answer those questions?
If you can just take 2 minutes, yes.
2-3 minutes.
There is a question. Debate, yes.
Very small, 2-3 minutes I will take.
Okay.
Because there is a question regarding potato and onion. Some question he referred to Director Horticulture. On behalf of Director Horticulture, I am telling our present production of potato is only 3 lakh tons against our requirement of 12 lakh tons. That is only that is a problem for cold storage. Now we are having only 47 cold storage, having capacity of 2 lakh metric ton capacity. And during 2014-15, the potato mission tried. There was a massive program of potato in Koraput district. There was distress sale. That is the reason the potato is not going, and we are in shortage of potato, and we are only 25%. We meet the demand of the state. This is number one. Onion, we are in a comfortable position. Our requirement is 5.5 lakh tons in Odisha, including 30% storage loss. We are producing about 3.9 lakh tons of onion in Odisha. Also, our agriculture department, they have tried. Normally, onion is cultivated in Rabi season. Our Odisha government has tried for cultivation in Kharif season with the support of one international organization, and very good results they have received. Once we promote onion in Kharif season, the problem will be over. This is regarding potato and onion. Only 1 minute. what are the lacunae of the bills. This is the, I am stating the expert views, whatever I have read it. This is lack of regulation, regulatory oversight and reporting. They are somewhat non-transparent. Bills, those are devoid of larger context of state intervention in agriculture and agriculture policy. This APMC bypass bill, most controversial, the experts have told. I am not telling. I don't have any knowledge on that. Bill assures private players do not exist. Bill has told that APMC, beyond APMC, the private players will come, but APMC monopoly will go away. But this is wrong. No, sorry. Bill assures that private players do not exist today. APMC is a monopoly, but this is wrong. As private players look to the APMC for a reference price to conduct their own transactions. So there is also presently alternate marketing outside APMC. Private players have no Mondi's fees. Private players look to APMC as a reference price. Government idea of get rid of inefficient APMC doesn't hold. Large traders outside Mondi will come and automatically APMC will collapse. This is their statement. This is not my statement.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it was a wonderful time with all of you. I would only advise that people like, Suresh Patnaik, Professor Raul, then there are many others, Bidyadhar Maharana, who is also amongst us, and there are many others who have brilliant propositions, suggestions. In view of very limited time, we are not able to discuss and deliberate on that. So my request would be, we will have a very shorter conversation in a small team to formulate our, what you call, recommendations to the state government, and if necessary to Government of India also from think tank group. And that will be a major, what you call, submission from our side with very concrete problem, identifying the concrete problem with solutions actually, whatever comes. I am sure Sudesh Babu will do that. We'll have a short webinar with this small group to formulate our points so that we are able to take it up with the government at the appropriate level. I think, friends, everything, all good things must come to a closure. And so time to close. I think one very important thing for agriculture, what we heard, is this: how do we deal these 10 agroclimatic zones in Odisha, and then really work around each zone, around each zone, and each around a cluster of produce action. That is one. The second is the convergence between various players, and integrated farming is a very interesting model where convergence is possible actually. The third aspect is, now there is a new breed of organizations which are coming, the farmer-producer organizations. And farmer-producer organizations, their collective bargaining power, if they are not strengthened, the new bill is going to really weaken them. So more they are strengthened, they can negotiate with the market, they can negotiate with the trading community, and then they can earn better profit. The fourth area is, Secretary mentioned about organic farming, and organic farming there is a tremendous possibility in Odisha for organic farming because our consumption of fertilizers and pesticide is lowest in the country almost. So why do you increase fertilizers and pesticides if we focus on organic farming with low input agriculture? Maybe agriculture will get a, low input agriculture is always remunerative. So high intensive, high input agriculture is non-remunerative at many times. So that is what has happened. The regional research stations which we have, we came to know from this presentation, we have 8.
Swadesh, please take over.
Regional research stations.
Please take over.
And then technology market. All these are ideas to pursue.
Swadesh, are you there?
Yes.
Swadesh, are you there?
Let Mr. Jagranga stop there. Then we will take it.
So let me.
Swadesh, are you there?
Yes, I am there. Mr. Jagadananda will speak and then he will also propose the vote of
Pradesh,
thanks.
are you there?
Yes, I am there. Very much there.
Okay. So then,
Okay.
thank you very much, all the panelists, the government of Odisha, the members of think tank, agriculture professionals. Some of you could not get even opportunity to speak. I'm sorry, time is the greatest limitation. And agri entrepreneurs who were part of this conversation. And I think this was a great conversation with about 100 of you together conversing on the future of agriculture, the agriculture development in Odisha, the present and the future. So thank you very much. Please share your points, share your suggestions with Swadesh Babu, who is our convener of the think tank, and I'm sure he will take it in an appropriate way in converting that to a proper memorandum to be given to the government. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I must thank everybody, to the principal secretary of the agriculture department, Dr. Rao, Mr. Patnaik, and most importantly to Mr. D.K. Roy, B.K. Mahapatra, and then Vivek Patnaik, the guidance, and also most importantly, very big thanks to Jagadananda Babu, for which the webinar has gone into a next step that has gone beyond the think tank purview. It has gone beyond to the districts or the remote districts of the state. Many thanks, and thanks very much to Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan for the logistic support, specifically Sujata Madam, and also Sonu Pradhan and Sadik. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Close it now.